Have you ever felt like something invisible is holding you back, like the money you need, the freedom you crave? There's always just one step out of reach, but somehow that step never completes itself. You wake up, take a deep breath, do what needs to be done, yet deep inside, something feels stuck, a heaviness, a silence that's not just mental, it's vibrational, as if the universe is listening but unable to reply. Maybe you've tried techniques, visualization, affirmations, but life keeps swinging between small breakthroughs and big setbacks, and you start to wonder, am I doing something wrong? Is there something I haven't seen? Right now, I invite you to consider a place you've likely never thought of. It's not a secret method. It's not a mystical formula. It's a space that welcomes you every day, yet goes unnoticed. Your bedroom. The place where your body rests, but your soul stays awake, where your conscious mind goes quiet, and your subconscious opens wide. That's where your reality begins to take shape, night after night. But what if that space, so intimate, is vibrating? The opposite of what you've been asking for. What if everything you feel when you wake up, the tiredness, the anxiety, the sense of starting from scratch, doesn't come just from within you, but from the energy field around you while you sleep? There is a detail, subtle, silent, but deeply powerful. And today you're going to uncover what that is. You don't have to believe anything, yet just feel. Feel if these words are touching something in you. Feel if a part of you already knows there's something here waiting to be seen. Because when the field opens, when your frequency aligns, life begins to respond. What once felt like a struggle becomes flow. What once felt like a battle becomes presence. And it all can start with a glass, a handful of salt, and a sacred place where your soul rests. Let's go together step by step. Because something inside you is already remembering, and that's where true manifestation begins. The invisible field of financial stagnation. Sometimes life feels like it's on pause. You try, you push. You do everything right, but the flow doesn't come. Money might show up, but it slips away just as fast. Prosperity feels like it's watching from a distance, never quite entering. And no matter how much effort you make, something underneath stays the same. A quiet break, a hidden resistance. But this resistance isn't in your actions. It's in your space, in the invisible energy field you live in. Every single day, there is an energy that moves within spaces. A vibration you can't see, but you feel it, and when that field is heavy, filled with old emotions, forgotten thoughts, unspoken fears, it starts sending out signals that interfere with your decisions, your clarity, your courage to grow. Science already understands this. Emotionally loaded environments affect the thalamus, the limbic system, the parts of your brain that govern focus, motivation, and action. Your biology reacts to what your space silently holds. And where does that imprint hold the most power? Where you rest, the space where you drop your guard. Close your eyes and surrender to the invisible. Your bedroom, the most sacred part of your home. Not because it has mystical objects or symbols, but because that is where your vibration resets. And if that space is chaotic, cluttered, ignored, then that's the message your energy field is receiving. Every night, look around your bed. Old mirrors, piles of clothes, forgotten papers, objects you haven't touched in years. Each one of them holds a story, and every story vibrates. The past vibrates. Fear vibrates. Pain you've already lived through, but never cleared from the physical space. And the universe, ever sensitive, hears that as a silent request to keep things the same. Because it doesn't answer what you want. It answers what you emit. But everything can change when you understand the field, when you begin to speak the language of space. When you cleanse not only the room, but the vibration it carries. And that's exactly what we're starting now, because from this point on, every detail will begin to connect to a new code, a new way of living, a new path for the money you've been calling in to finally find its way to you. The bedroom is a portal of quantum creation. It's not just a room. It's not just a place where your body lies down and the lights go off. The bedroom is more than a physical space. It's a vibrational field, a temple, a silent portal where creation begins to happen. Even before you open your eyes, because it's there in the moment. The The conscious mind drifts away, that the subconscious takes over, and everything in that environment is absorbed as truth, as direction, as command. While you sleep, your awareness steps aside, but your field stays active. It listens, it records, it interacts with everything in the room. That's why even after a long night's sleep, you might wake up tired, foggy, heavy. It's not just your body resting there, it's your soul too. And if that environment isn't clean, aligned, alive, your energy field won't be either. Think of your bed as a vibrational altar, a sacred spot where every object has a purpose. Every detail is a symbol. Every sensation carries a message. What's on it, around it, under it, all of it communicates something to your energy. All of it becomes a code for your external reality. And when those codes are out of tune with who you're becoming, they block you, slow you down, confuse your path. Even your headboard, simple unnoticed, holds symbolic power. It's the unconscious anchor of your sleep, the backdrop of your mind as it drifts into the realm of creation. If that space holds clutter, broken items, forgotten pain, that's what's being transmitted into your field, night after night, looping silently. Now imagine the opposite, a clean space. A space filled with intention, a sacred field that welcomes your soul, prepares your vibration to receive what you've been asking for. In prayer, in thought, in longing, that is the real purpose of this place. To be the vibrational womb of your reality. The quiet stage where the invisible begins to take shape, where manifestation becomes more than a concept. It becomes presence, and so, when you place something there with deep intention, the field responds, because in that space, everything echoes, everything matters, everything amplifies, and slowly, you begin to see how every detail in your bedroom reflects every layer of your life, especially your finances, because money is sensitive. It enters where there is space, where there is clarity, where there is welcome. And all of that begins in the place where you rest. Salt is a vibrational code translator. Some elements carry ancient wisdom, elements that have crossed centuries, civilizations, spiritual traditions, and still hold their power today. Salt is one of them, not just as seasoning, not just as a symbol of protection, but as a vibrational tool, a silent messenger that enters the energy field and begins to translate the invisible. Because salt doesn't just absorb, it reveals, it decodes density, it purifies memory, it unlocks frequencies trapped in space, in the body and the soul. Since the times of ancient Greece, when salt was used in temples to absorb grief, envy, and spiritual imbalance, to modern studies that show its ability to neutralize electromagnetic fields, salt has always served as a bridge between worlds, between the physical and the energetic. And when placed in the right spot, it begins to operate as a guardian, fair translator, a signal receiver. But not all salt is the same, and this matters more than you think. Refined iodized salt, stripped of its minerals, altered in its purity, becomes mute to the field. It's an empty vessel. It may look like salt, but it doesn't carry power. Coarse salt, natural salt, untouched by processing, that's the salt that listens, that feels, that transforms. And when it's combined with clean water, a new frequency is born, a circuit opens. A living vibrational technology is created. This union, salt, water, and space, forms a triangle of transmutation. And the field understands. It responds because you're not just placing a cup of salt water next to your bed, you're sending a message. I'm ready to release. I'm open to seeing what's been hidden. I give permission for the old to dissolve, and the salt, without needing approval or belief, begins to do what it's always done. It absorbs heavy frequencies. It crystallizes stored memories. It forms bubbles, patterns, sediment, not by magic, but by vibrational alignment. Because once the energy field starts moving, the physical responds, the cup changes, the atmosphere shifts, and slowly, you begin to sense that something beyond logic is happening. It's not about ritual. It's about consciousness. It's not about superstition. It's about energy. The salt doesn't need ceremony. It needs presence, place to act, a field to decode. And that field is closer than you think. It's where your body rests, where your subconscious opens, where your unseen becomes visible, where your creation truly begins, while your home rejects what you attract. You affirm, you visualize. You speak abundance into the air, and yet it feels like the more you try, the heavier everything becomes, as if your intentions were colliding with something unseen and bouncing right back. The truth is, it may not be your mindset. It may not be your energy. It may be your home, the very space meant to support you. Might be sending out signals that undo everything you're trying to create. Your home feels. Your home remembers, your home responds. Every word you speak, every emotion you release, every silent fear, it's all recorded. And it doesn't just sit there. It vibrates, it becomes part of the atmosphere. Dust in the corners holds a frequency. Clutter in the drawers holds a memory. The broken mirror, the piled up papers, the old clothes you no longer align with. They're all talking to the field, and the field listens. This isn't spiritual exaggeration. It's energetic reality. Homes are emotional archives. They hold on to what you've forgotten. They absorb what you never processed. And then they return it to you as tension, fatigue, insomnia, indecision, and invisible resistance. You try to move forward, but your environment keeps pulling you back into patterns you thought you had left behind. Now imagine your home as a holographic mirror. Every shadow in a corner, every unspoken discomfort, every moment of heaviness that shows up for no clear reason, all of it is a reflection, not to punish you but to awaken you, to show you that before the new can arrive, space must be made. Energetic space, emotional space, vibrational space. Because sometimes the stagnation you feel isn't inside you, it's in the room sometimes. The money that won't isn't about luck or worthiness. It's about too much vibrational noise. Sometimes your home is simply reflecting a version of you that you've already outgrown, but haven't yet released. And in this moment, cleaning is no longer a chore. It's a spiritual act. It's a declaration of readiness. It's a signal to the universe. I'm clearing the old to welcome the new. Because your home isn't just walls and furniture. It's an extension of your energy. And if that energy is cluttered, nothing new can land, no tool will work. No ritual will stick. That's why everything begins here. Not out there, but right where you live. Right where your soul sleeps. Right where the invisible has been. Patiently waiting for your return. For your awareness, for your permission to let go. Intention, the forgotten element in rituals. So many repeat affirmations. Light candles rearrange their space. But forget the one thing that actually moves the field. Intention, not surface-level intention. Not the words you say just to say them, but the kind that comes from silence, from truth, from presence. The kind you feel in your chest when you're not trying to prove anything. The kind the universe understands without effort, because the field doesn't respond to form. It responds to frequency. And frequency is born from how deeply you mean what you do. You can place a glass of salt water by your bed. Anyone can, but if you do it without feeling, without reverence, without truly being there, the energy won't shift. It'll just be another action in a long list of things you've tried. Because it's not the act that holds power. It's the state of being behind the act. And that state is what tells the universe. This time it's real. Science is already beginning to touch this truth. Studies on heart coherence show that when your mind and heart are aligned, your body enters a different frequency, a frequency that can affect matter, a frequency that can imprint intention into water. Water, which makes up the majority of your body, is impressionable, responsive. It stores information, and when salt is added, it carries that intention even deeper into the energetic field. But if you treat the ritual like a checklist, like a task to be rushed through or repeated mechanically, the field feels it and it resists. Because energy doesn't obey action. It obeys alignment. It doesn't care about the gesture. It listens to the feeling behind it. So when you hold the salt, hold it with reverence. When you pour the water, pour it as if you're offering something sacred. Not with anxiety, but with presence. with stillness, with clarity, because intention is the password that opens the signal between your inner world and the field. It's what turns a simple act into a spiritual message, into a call that the universe cannot ignore. This doesn't require a dramatic ceremony. Just honesty, just heart. Just the willingness to be fully there for one moment, completely, vulnerably, truthfully, because the invisible listens always. And when you speak from the place within you, that truly means it. The response begins instantly, not in fireworks, but in frequency, quiet. Steady, real. The physics of nighttime silence. When the world slows down and external noise fades, another layer of reality emerges. Silence, not just the absence of sound, but the presence of stillness, a field that can't be measured, but is deeply felt. And it's within this silence that the universe listens. Most clearly within this silence, that your deepest frequencies rise to the surface. Within this silence, that your energy begins to speak directly to creation itself. During sleep, the brain enters a theta state, a place between wakefulness and dreaming. A state where conscious filters dissolve, and the subconscious becomes fully open in this space. Your environment doesn't just influence you, it becomes you. The vibrations of your room merge with your field. The energy surrounding your body feeds directly into the frequencies that shape your reality. But there's a problem one most don't notice. Interference, electromagnetic signals. Unnatural light, subtle background stimulation. All of it clutters the silence. All of it distorts your signal. And when your signal is muddy, the field receives static. Not clarity, not intention, not manifestation, just noise. That's why nighttime silence isn't just calming. It's essential. It's the sacred channel through which your energy can travel cleanly, a space of listening, of alignment, of energetic accuracy. When your room becomes quiet, your field becomes precise, and manifestation becomes not just possible, but inevitable. This is the environment where salt does its most powerful work, in quiet, in peace, in vibrational stillness, because salt isn't just an absorber, it's a translator, and it can only translate when the air is still. When the message is clear, when your space becomes a chamber of coherence, not confusion. Think of your bedroom not as a place to escape from the world, but as a space where your signal to the universe is being broadcast, every night, whether you know it or not. And if that signal is wrapped in silence, real, deep, clean silence, it reaches farther. It hits truer, it manifests faster. Because in the end, creation doesn't shout. It whispers, it listens. It tunes into what's quiet, consistent, real. And the silence you create at night might be the most powerful sound the universe ever hears. The forgotten frequency of the home. Every home has a voice, though most never hear it. It's not in the walls or the floors. It's in the energy, the vibration, the frequency that rises from memories, emotions, and the stories that have been lived within it. Some homes uplift, others drain. Some feel like a sanctuary, others like a weight, and this isn't about architecture. It's about energy, about the silent frequency that fills every room, every object, every corner. Each room emits a unique vibrational signature, but one of them holds the core, the center of gravity of your entire energetic ecosystem, your bedroom, the place where your body surrenders and your subconscious opens, where your guard falls and your field expands. It's not just where you rest. It's where you reset, where you reprogram, where the unseen writes the blueprint of what tomorrow will look like. If this space holds anger, resentment, grief, those emotions don't just fade. They imprint. They seep into the bed, the walls, the air. They become codes, codes that continue to run in the background, long after the emotions have passed, and slowly, without realizing, you begin to vibrate those frequencies again, not because you want to, but because your environment remembers what you've forgotten. In the ancient understanding of vibrational feng shui, the spot where you sleep is not just a place of comfort. It's the guardian of your manifestation, the energetic gateway through which your desires are filtered. And if that guardian is sick, neglected, ignored, The path between you and what you want becomes clouded, blocked, distorted. That's why you can be doing all the right things, visualizing, affirming, praying, and still feel stuck, because the environment you're doing it from is speaking louder than your words. The room isn't echoing your desires. It's echoing your unresolved past. But this doesn't mean you're trapped. It means you're being called to listen, to reconnect, to clear. Because your home wants to support you. Your room wants to heal with you. Your bed wants to cradle more than your body. It wants to cradle your future. And when you treat it as sacred, when you bring presence into the forgotten places, everything begins to shift. It's not just about making your space beautiful. It's about making it aligned, making it vibrationally true to the life you want to live. Because manifestation isn't an isolated act. It's a relationship between your desire, your vibration, and the space that holds you. And that relationship begins in the room, where you sleep. The body sleeps, the field works. When your eyes close and your breath slows, the day may end, but your energy doesn't. What looks like stillness on the outside is actually movement on the inside. Your conscious mind may shut down for the night, but your energy field keeps pulsing, listening, emitting, receiving. Because the body rests, but the field works tirelessly, invisibly, powerfully. Sleep isn't just a pause, it's a portal. A time when your awareness steps aside and your deeper intelligence rises. During this time, your field expands beyond your body. It reaches into the collective, it connects with the unseen, and every thought, every unresolved feeling. Every frequency from your environment blends into the language of your energy. It begins shaping the dreams you have, the emotions you carry, the reality you'll wake up to. You become an antenna whether you want to or not, broadcasting and absorbing even as you sleep. And what you carry into that sleep matters. It shapes the signal. A mind full of worry will project worry. A heart filled with tension will attract more tension. And the universe, always in coherence, simply echoes back what it receives. Not to punish, not to judge, but to reflect. That's why what you bring to bed isn't just about comfort. It's about creation. If you fall asleep with guilt, it continues vibrating. If you lie down with fear, it continues to transmit. The field takes whatever you're holding and begins weaving it into your next experience, into your opportunities, your conversations, your income, everything. And this is where the salt becomes more than a symbol. It becomes a guide, a helper. An ally placed beside your bed, near your head. It begins pulling the heaviness from your field. While you rest, it gathers what your conscious mind can't access. It holds what your heart no longer needs to carry, and without you doing anything, it works silently, consistently. But the salt can only do so much. The rest is your presence, your awareness, your willingness to choose what you vibrate before surrendering to sleep, to pause, to breathe, to release, to speak silently to the field. Let what no longer serves me be lifted tonight. Because in that space, between the last waking thought and the first dream, the most powerful transformation takes place, where the body sleeps and the field creates. When salt speaks signs from the field, something shifts quietly, gently, almost beyond perception, but undeniably real. You waking glance at the glass beside your bed, and something is different. Tiny bubbles, crystals forming at the bottom, a cloudiness hovering in the water, sediments that weren't there before. You might not understand it, but you feel it. Something moved. Something was released. Something responded. Salt doesn't use words, but it communicates. It reveals what was hidden. It reflects the energy that was silently vibrating in your space. When you see these formations, you're not looking at chemistry. You're looking at a message, a mirror of what the field has absorbed and what is now ready to be transmuted. Each crystal is a memory that's been let go. Each bubble is a moment of tension that found space to dissolve. Each haze in the water is energy no longer trapped. And ignoring these signs would be like turning your back on a conversation with the universe. Because the field has begun to speak through salt, through water, through change. You may not interpret it with logic, but your body knows, your inner self understands. Because this language is ancient. It belongs to the part of you that remembers how energy moves before thought exists. This is why the ritual matters. Not for superstition, not for control, but for connection. It's your bridge between the visible and the invisible, and the salt is your translator. But don't treat it like a test. Don't check it with expectation. Approach it with presence, with respect, with quiet gratitude. Because what's happening isn't about spectacle. It's about alignment. It's about allowing something old to leave so that something new can arrive. The salt is doing its work, the water is holding its memory, and the field is responding slowly. Precisely with symbols instead of answers. With signs instead of words, because this is how the universe speaks softly. Patiently in ways that only the soul can hear. What you're witnessing is more than a reaction. It's a reflection, a physical echo of the energy that once lived in your space, and now no longer needs to stay. You're not just purifying your home, you're recalibrating your field. One crystal, one bubble. One silent sign at a time. There comes a moment when everything becomes still. The mind quiets, the body softens, and the energy field begins to shift. Maybe nothing visible has changed around you. Maybe the money hasn't arrived, yet maybe the job, the numbers, the circumstances remain the same, but something inside feels lighter, as if a door you didn't know existed has quietly opened, and in that subtle opening, a new frequency begins to form, because true manifestation doesn't start with results. It starts with vibration, with that invisible law. Gentle sense that something is finally flowing again. The home breathes differently. The bedroom feels calmer. The weight that used to cling to your thoughts has softened, and you know that something was released, something that had been there for a long time. Waiting for this moment, the salt has done its part. The water has carried its memory, but the transformation didn't come from the elements. It came from your awareness, from the intention you placed, from the presence you allowed, from the space you made, not just in your room, but in your energy. And now that the invisible has moved, the visible will follow, perhaps. The miracle you expected won't come in the form of sudden wealth. Perhaps it comes as clarity, as inner peace, as a renewed courage. To let go of what's already expired, as a softness where there used to be strain. Because when the field is clean, reality has room to respond naturally, gracefully, in ways no strategy could have predicted. So now breathe, see your home wrapped in light. Picture the place where the salt rested as a golden portal spinning, glowing, releasing. Feel that space within you, now clearer, stronger, quieter, and remember, the sacred place in your house was always you. The salt was just a reminder, the ritual just a reflection, the home just an amplifier. What truly shifted was your field and your presence in it. If these words touch something in you, if your energy feels just a little lighter, declare it: I purified my field. I remain where I asked to be. Write it, whisper it. Let the field hear you. And if this energy feels right, stay close. There's more to awaken. More to remember, more spaces inside and around you, waiting to be turned into light. The universe is already listening.